Thanks, Rose. Well, it's been a great day for Brian Bloomfield. He's just been named as successor to Davy McMaster as coach of the Ulster Rugby side. And earlier today, Bloomfield, who also coaches Wallace High, watched his side defeat the favourites Methody to reach the Schools Cup final. In the other semi-final, Dungannon were beaten by Regent House. Well, Jim Neely begins his report from Ravenhill with Methody against Wallace.
There was always the feeling that this wasn't going to be Methody's day. In the final 10 minutes of the first half, they did come close on 3 occasions. Right wing Kyle Johnson was just beaten to the touchdown. And a couple of minutes later, on the left wing, following another chip and chase, the referee Mark Orr decided that Michael Irwin hadn't made it either. And in injury time at the end of the first half, Methody's fullback Ross Collins watched his well-struck penalty attempt bounce back off the posts. The opening score went to Wallace 20 minutes into the second half. Stephen Docherty judged his penalty perfectly. With just 5 minutes to go, Methody looked to have the game well won. The forwards laid on fine possession, and the handling was slick enough to allow Michael Irwin to get in for a first-class try in the corner. The conversion was missed, but more Wallace pressure yielded another penalty. Again, it was out-half Stephen Docherty, and he made light of the pressure, and Wallace were through to their second final ever.
Finally at Ravenhill, it will be Wallace High against Regent House. Well, now hockey, and the draw for the semi-finals of the Tennent's Irish Senior Cup was made at the BBC this afternoon by Dixon Rose of the Irish.
He lost by 5 frames to 1 to local hero James Watana in the quarter-finals. Brian Bloomfield has today been named as the new Ulster Rugby coach. He succeeds David McMaster, who of course stepped down after this year's interprovincial series. Bloomfield has a wealth of coaching experience, including involvement with collegians and currently Queen's University, and of course with Wallace High School. So Brian is certainly a happy man today, as his side surprisingly defeated Methody in the semi-finals by 6 points to 5. Wallace will play Regent in the March 17th final after they also produced a shock, beating Dungannon by 21 points to 12. The pre-match talk in the Methody huddle was probably of how many points they could score. Remember, they hadn't lost this season. What they didn't know was that Wallace were not about to become victim 29. The Lisburn school dominated up front, and their backs had the odd burst forward. Some crunching tackling was required. When the Methody pack began to secure possession, their three-quarters had a chance to control, but the smooth, flowing movements that have been so evident in their play this season were missing. They opted for the chip over the cover, and then the chase. They nearly won the touchdown on a couple of occasions. Left winger Michael Irwin came closest here. In the second half, Stephen Docherty kicked the first points to put Wallace 3-0 up. Methody sneaked 5-3 in front when their backs did click. Irwin did well to release Graham Steele, who sent right winger Kyle Johnson into his opposite corner for an unconverted try. But back came Wallace with only a couple of minutes left. Docherty had this for a win. He calmly slotted over his second kick of the game. 6-5 the final score to Wallace to put them into their second ever final. Methody distraught, but Wallace delighted.
It's complete and utter delight, and maybe slightly amazed at just how well we played. I think we played over and above every expectation that I would have had of the side.
What about that last kick?
A bit nerve-wracking on, because I've been missing a few recently in the last matches, so very pleased it went over,
What was the reaction when it actually sailed between the posts?
It's just elation, never felt anything like it.